So far in our breakdowns of the Imperial Warlords, we've taken a look at Artus Kane in the Pentastar alignment, and a bit at Sandor Dalvardis in his flagship Nighthammer. Today we're going to carry on that series by looking at his Sibling Rivalry and Red Star Destroyers, with our breakdown of the Teradoc Brothers, Crimson Command, and the Greater Maldrude. The Teradocs, Trajan and Kosh, were born in the desert planet of Arkit in the Outer Rim, and had a strong rivalry from an early age. Unfortunately, there was only one picture of Trajan where he's choking to death, and Kosh is never given a picture, so we won't have much to work with there. After spending their youth competing, except for when they were playing together as galactic war heroes on adventures, they enrolled in the Imperial Academy on Korlag. Neither was especially fit or strong, but they excelled at naval theory, and their competitive nature, especially towards each other, quickly secured them positions as captains within the Crimson Command, part of Zinja's Quelli Oversector fleet. Crimson Command was the name for a distinctive fleet of outdated Victory Star Destroyers, but with a special red alloy because of limited supplies of other hull materials. Serving within the fleet wasn't seen as an especially prestigious assignment, but the brothers continued to try to outdo each other while serving there. Eventually, Trajan, who was a year older than Kosh, rose to the rank of Admiral in command of the entire fleet, rubbing it in Kosh's face at every opportunity. This only made Kosh more determined, and soon after, he had also gained the rank of Admiral, this time commanding an Imperial class, the Lancet, as his flagship, far superior to Trajan's flotilla of outdated victories. After Palpatine's death at Endor in 4 ABY, or years after the Battle of Yavin, both Trajan and Kosh scrambled to establish their own holdings. Kosh moved for the Deep Core, becoming one of several warlords to establish themselves there, while Trajan moved for the Mid-Rim, displacing Grand Moff Ambreth Sellet and establishing his capital on the Maldrude sector's capital of Centaures. With the Maldrude sector and its surrounding area pledging itself to him, Trajan called his new holdings the Greater Maldrude. Both admirals became somewhat arrogant with their victories. Kosh was constantly in a state of war with other Deep Core warlords and was able to successfully remain in a position of strength. Both styled themselves as High Admirals, and Trajan took to walking around his command bridge with a cutlass. Trajan's territory, while not in the same constant state of war with other Imperials as Kosh, still had enemies on several sides. He lay close to the major rebel base of Mon Calamari, shared a border with the Hutts whom he skirmished with often, as well as the far more powerful warlord Zinj, whom held a grudge against Trajan for taking Crimson Command after Endor, which was supposed to be part of Zinja's own command. Like many warlords at the time, Trajan at least maintained some connections to the Imperial Center. These were mostly broken after Isard lost Coruscant to the New Republic in 6 ABY, but he still loaned ships to Isard on occasion, including the Interdictor-class Aggregator. Though not trusting Isard, he insisted she use her own TIE pilots. When the New Republic and Imperial Admiral Terran Rogris cooperated to take down Warlord Zinj, Teradoc saw it as an opportunity to strike out and secure the loyalty of Zinja's forces. He soundly defeated the forces of Rogris at Furai Junction in 8 ABY, disgracing Rogris and gaining much of Zinja's residual forces. His success was short-lived, however, as Admiral Akbar turned his attention on the burgeoning Greater Maldrude, pushing Teradoc out of much of the Mid-Rim. As the New Republic and Imperial efforts continued to crush Maldrude's forces, Trajan was forced to call Kosh for aid, combining their holdings in the Rim and the Deep Core to form the Federated Teradoc Union. They managed to cooperate for a few years, although the Moff turned pilot Leonia Tavira, who the Teradocs furnished with the Star Destroyer, hoping to gain her loyalty, nearly broke the two apart. When Palpatine returned in 11 ABY for Operation Shadowhand, both brothers once again served the Sith Lord. Despite the war ending in a New Republic victory and a string of defeats for Trajan himself, he managed to keep Crimson Command intact. The brothers essentially switched places in the galaxy at this point, with Trajan planning to use Crimson Command to defeat the strongest rival power in the Deep Core to the Teradocs, Blitzer Harsk, while Kosh worked to resecure their place in the Mid-Rim. Trajan at this point found himself with another gifted commander under his leadership, Gilad Pellaeon, now a Vice Admiral in charge of Crimson Command. Pellaeon and Admiral Natasi Dalla, who was serving in Harsk's forces, were disgusted with the warlords' rivalries, squandering the diminishing forces of the Empire. During a series of battles between Teradoc and Harsk, Dalla and Pellaeon both ignored orders to destroy their adversaries' forces, angering the two warlords. Ultimately, Trajan agreed to join Dalla's proposed summit on Sauce Beacon in 12 ABY, where, after failing to come to an agreement on who should lead the Imperials as a whole, she executed Trajan along with several other Deep Core warlords, putting herself in command of the reunited Imperial forces. Kosh, now alone in the Mid-Rim, having avoided the fate of the Deep Core warlords, was distraught over Trajan's death despite their rivalry. He kept running what was the Greater Maldrude for another year before retiring to Rivester, when Rogue Squadron tricked him into accepting what he thought was a priceless artifact, playing at the brothers' earlier love of pirate stories and legendary treasures. And instead, it turned out to be a bomb, killing the last of the warlords to exist outside of the Deep Core. That's going to do it for a look at the Teradoc Brothers. For the more major warlord factions, we've still got Harsk and Zinj to go through, plus some of the smaller warlord groups in the Deep Core. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments, and if you've enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing for more. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.